Hello everyone, this is xBIGALSKIx,
And this is JTB.
and this is Abysmal Lair Phase 2 on my quest for 50 million Ninja Gaiden Black mission mode Master Ninja stuff. This is another one of those tricky where you want to try to get single hit UTs with the chucks, and I tried it a few times. Whenever I did this a long time ago, I went to the right hand side. And I actually tried a couple times from the right-hand side, and I just didn't seem to have very much luck with it. I wasn't beating my average. I wasn't even coming close. So I ended up going to the left-hand side, which we'll see here in a minute. But I had a little bit more success with that. But since I hadn't practiced it much, I just kind of did it to see what it was like. I beat my average by just a couple thousand. So again, I made my average, so I'm going to keep it. If I ever wanted to go back and try to get some more points out of some missions, this would be one. Abysmal Lair 1 would be another one. Abysmal Lair 3, which is going to come up here pretty soon. So having said all that, whenever you UT the beetles and the wasps, make sure you don't hit the worm.
Yeah, that's one thing you want to keep in mind using the Warhammer. The Warhammer's UT is obviously single hit, so there's no way to kind of let that not hit the worm if he's in the vicinity. Like if it's going to hit the worm, it's going to hit the worm, and it does a ton of damage to him.
So when the worm came down and stuck his head down, like right here, you can release at just the right time and get one hit.
Yeah.
Before this is stuff you don't want to do. You don't want to hit him that many times. But again, I'm just trying to figure this out. And right there at the wall, I think that's probably the best spot. Let's see if I get it this time. Yeah, see, that's what you wanted to do right there. Just hit him the one time.
Yeah, and if you look at the health, one hit versus the 8 hits, if you hit everything, it's about 3 times the amount of health. So if you get one of those like flurries to connect on him, you're essentially losing like up to 2 UTs every time.
And see, I'm a little bit by the bars now, so I'm not where I really needed to be. So I whiffed because I wasn't sure when to release because I don't want to hit him a bunch of times. And again, I did that again, say 2 times in a row.
And positioning is everything here. One quick tip for positioning for stuff like this is just pay attention to Ryu's feet. So it might sound obvious, but the UT animation pose is always the same, like he's always going to take the same stance, and on this floor, and when you kind of play for score a lot, you'll kind of start noticing it. There's always these little markers that you can use on the floor. So right here, the floor kind of looks like tile, and you've got like 3 or 4 like tiles on one side, and you think, okay, well if I'm like 3 tiles in, where do I want Ryu's right foot on these tiles to be able to hit him once? And then try and like always position yourself to get that, and then that will kind of do a lot to alleviate like just if you're all of a sudden like just hitting him with like the entire flurry and you think, oh, I don't get why this is happening. Like look at where your feet are like when you do the UT.
So and that's true, and that's the thing though, because that's kind of at an angle, I can't go straight at it. If I put the thumbstick straight to the left, it's going to slide me. See how it kind of slid me over? So finding that spot is not as easy if you're not doing it how JTB said. Find that space on the floor, the little marker, the grout, I guess if you wanted to call that, between the tiles, and then try to get to that point. Rolling into it is probably easier than. See, that was only a 6 hit, but you can get, what is it, like you can get a 1 hit, a 6 hit, a 3 hit, and an 8 hit or something like that?
Yeah, I believe that's right.
See, I did too early there, so there's all 8. And the reason I don't get bitten right there or grabbed is because he's finishing out the UT and he doesn't have his, put the weapon back on his back.
Yeah, I mean, every UT has that. There's actually a very, very generous amount of invulnerability after a UT has finished, unless you're playing as Rachel in Sigma. They didn't give her that, so, which is really weird. it's one of those things that you kind of have to have played a lot of both versions, but it's really strange to, like, you know, especially the heavy weapon UTs. In Black, you're used to doing the heavy weapon UT and then thinking like, oh, okay, I've got like 8 years now where I can't get hit. Let me look at the environment. As Rachel, like, the Warhammer hits the floor and like you can just get grabbed immediately. It's like, oh, okay, well that doesn't happen in Black.
But you can see my other bad positioning, because again, I'm kind of rolling where I don't need to roll. That was kind of tricky to do. And again, I miss a lot, so that means I'm taking more time. See, there you go. There's a perfect example. I got one hit.
Yeah, and it's weird if you think how much more health he would have at this point. You know, as we said, like one 8-hit combo is 3 1-hitters worth of health. Yeah. So, you know, you've really got to keep that in mind going forward. Like, if you're starting this out with the goal of, like, you know, maybe going for like a 50 million kind of tier score, and you start out hitting him like 8 times, like 3 or 4 times in a row, it might be worth resetting there, because over the course of the whole run, you've lost like up to 8 UTs. And again, do the maths. You know, you're losing a lot of points if that happens.
And look at your kill counter to see if you killed 2 of the guys. And see, like, see right there, I shouldn't have turned my direct, because I can still directional UT with the chucks, you know, but I could have sat there and got, you know, maybe 2 UTs out of the last 2 enemies, because, you know, when there's only one wasp around and he kind of flies away, you have time to charge.
Yeah, you do.
So there was a couple UTs I missed during all that section. I think I just kind of roll funny, kind of almost get complacent.
I was just about to say, yeah, that can definitely happen. And I was going to say, one thing that can help kind of alleviate that is you can neutral jump dodge his lightning bolt, but it's very, very hard to do.
Yeah, but so I'm not going to try that.
Yeah, but if you want to keep your positioning neutral, like a neutral jump does not alter your footing. So if you have that position ready to go for that UT, but you don't want to roll, you can neutral jump his lightning bolt, and then that kind of keeps you sharp, because with the rolling through it, you can be like, well, I'm just going to do whatever I want. You know, I'm going to check my phone and dodge this lightning bolt. If you want to neutral jump it, it maintains your position. And it also you kind of have to be paying attention to really do that consistently, you know?
Well, if you notice, whenever I went to more of the left of that little pillar right there, and I started charging, I was so far back that he was just going to go in and out of the doorway right there, instead of coming to hit me, or, you know, to swing at me. It's like they know where, you know, the limit is to where they're not going to attack. I mean, that was always really consistent for me anyway, that if I stayed too far to the left, he wouldn't attack. So it's I mean, I could be wrong on that, but that was my experience. You know, maybe if I play it again a few more times, I can you know, maybe update that in the comment section or something if I find out that I've misspoken. Do you know anything?
I think that is the case. I think my guess is that's so that in story mode you can't hide in that spot and just like Debilero UT him to death, so, and he doesn't come out. I'm guessing like that.
I didn't mean to sit there and ET 3 of them.
Yeah.
So again, more points lost, but I'm still trying. Again, you know, I'm practicing this side. So sorry. Go ahead. What you were saying about staying back.
Yeah, I think that's probably just there so that you can't just stand back and have him be basically in the cave like that and just Debilero UT him over and over again. Yeah. I think that's so that it's like, oh, you know, like if you're gonna hide, like the game's gonna like force you to come out a little bit. I just remembered though, you don't have the Luna in this mission, but I think Kel put up a video for Abysmal Lair 5, which is the triple worm mission, or the 4 worm mission. It's one of the two.
He has them. Well, he has 4 and 5. The 2 worm mission is 4, and the 3 worm mission is 5.
Oh, okay. I can't remember which one he's got the record on. It's one of those. And I'm pretty sure he uses the Luna.
Yeah, he does Lunar 1 hits.
Yeah, it's weird because the Luna, obviously the Luna is harder to do because it does more damage, so you have to really be on point. But when you look at the Nunchuck UT, a big chunk of the health is that first hit. You know, the rest of it isn't as big of a deal. Whereas the level, even though it's a level 3 Luna, because you only hit one hit and it can be consistent, and that's kind of where consistency is key, isn't it? It's
yeah.
Sometimes with the Nunchucks you might get a one-hitter, but sometimes you might get an 8-hitter, which does more damage than a level 3 Luna UT does. So you have like consistency versus like like how much do you want to like grind it out, you know?
You know, it's just like, just roll, Alan. You know, just don't panic and roll too early, and that's exactly what I did. So I'm going to finish this off, but just think of how many, you know, points I missed out if I could have got one hit. But my average was 836, I believe it's coming up here. Yeah, my average was 836, so I beat that barely, but I beat it. So obviously that could be done a lot better. It's something that getting that timing down is key, because if you can figure out, get to the same spot by that wall, get one hit UTs, or at worst, you know, the 3-hit UT, where it just, you know, my score could have easily been 40 or 50,000 points higher. And also don't forget the importance of the wasps and the beetles when they come out, because if you sit there and kill, you know, 3 or 4 of them, well, you know, you've lost out on some potential UTs. And the other part of that too is if you start focusing on those pill bugs to get UTs or wasps to get UTs, you might end up hitting the worm. So there's that fine balance between that. What'd you say?
I was like, he might end up grabbing you.
Yeah.
And his grab hurts on Master Ninja.
So that's it for this one. Again, could have been better, but I made my average, so I'm happy. I can move on. I don't think there's really anything else to say about that one. I mean, it's not really that hard. Obviously, you could just if you just wanted to get through it, you know, forward Y with the Warhammer and, you know, get some UTs with the Warhammer, and your score would be decent. But if you have a certain goal, you're not, you know, you're going to have to do the one-hit UTs.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more like simple missions.
Yeah. Okay, everyone, that's it for this one. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.
Bye, everybody.